Hey guys, Blakey here and welcome back to another video. Today I have a video about a game that I've just started making. Well, I started making it this morning. It's been in the talks for the last few days and I'm going to tell you why. It is kind of a game made from inspiration from an older game that was on the Wii, and we're going to talk about that as the video begins. But the way this kind of came about is that I was talking to my family about an old game that we used to play on the Wii, and it was called Smooth Moves by Wario. It was like WarioWare Smooth Moves. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was along the lines of that. And it's a game about loads of funny little mini games, and you've got to do it in like a very short amount of time. And as the game goes on, like the more time that you last, the time gets shorter and shorter. And you've got to do things faster and faster. And one of those mini games was you had to balance a broom on your hand with the motion controllers of the Wii. And we were talking about it and how much of a laugh it was. And they were saying to me, because you make games, you should do that, and then we can all play it. And I thought, you know what? I might make this into a fully fledged game and put my own twist on it, and maybe publish it, put it up on itch as a short game that you guys can play while waiting for Silhouette Dash and some other 3D projects I've got going on. So without further ado, let's get into it. So basically I made a lot of progress on the game today. I've got loads of stuff done, and we're going to be talking about that in this video. And this project I also thought would be pretty cool for me to learn, due to there's a lot of things that I've well, not a lot of things, but a few things that I have struggled with when learning Unity. Is always been like a high score system. Making a high score system in one level isn't that daunting, but the thing that I always wanted to steer away from is like saving data across scenes. So like saving high scores across scenes and different levels of stuff. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity for me to tackle that. So the way we're going to be doing it is the longer you last, balancing the higher score you'll get, the highest score that you get, and then when you die, when the broom or whatever the object is going to be drops, then the player respawns, but the highest score stays. And you can see how we got on with this video. So the first step in making this project was obviously to start a brand new scene up in Unity. Unity is the game engine we're going to be doing for this project, and I managed to get a little cube off Google. I say I managed as if it was something hard to do, but all I done was just took a picture of a cube off Google, and I just dragged it into our Unity scene, and I started adding the assets that was needed for it, such as a rigid body and some other stuff like that. The next step for this project was to make a little platform, which you can see on screen now, and actually add some player movement to that. So the way the movement works is that I wanted to keep it strictly left and right, so it's very simple when just for the very first stages of the game. That'll probably be the way the game is at the end, but by the end there'll be some, there'll be some animations to the platform and stuff like that. But obviously the first thing that's the most important is adding the logic behind that platform. So I made some floats such as speed, added a rigid body and labeled it RB as we always do, and added some super simple movement which did not take long to apply at all, because there's no jump or anything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much all we had to do for the movement. The next thing I had to do was go back into Unity and ensure his movement was constrained and locked to one axis, so he couldn't be rotated when the player moved on him, because that was an issue that I had right at the start. But obviously that's a very easy fix, as Unity has an inbuilt system where you can literally just tick or untick a box to lock and unlock a constraint or an axis. Once we got the movement working all well and happy, I wanted to make a canvas that holds a countdown timer. So when the game starts, you have 3, 2, 1, go before the player can start moving. It gives the player a chance to relax and have a breath before they have to start balancing the object on their hand. And the way we done this was using a countdown script, which was pretty simple to do. It took quite a bit of time, but in the end we did manage to get there, and you can see the way we've done it on screen now. Obviously it's sped up, but I didn't do it this quickly. If I could do code this quick, I would basically be brackies. So yeah, the script counts from 3, it goes 3, 2, 1, go, and during this time is frozen. You can see that I set time.timescale to 0 at the start of the game, and then once that is gone and the 3, 2, 1, go happens, we call a coroutine, which we talk about shortly in this video, in which timescale is set back to 1, and this means time can go at a normal speed yet again. The next thing that I wanted to do is add to the canvas a score and a high score, and we place those in the left and right of the screen. And just having these two pieces of text on their own obviously isn't going to do absolutely anything. We need some logic behind that, as always. So I made a new script, which is a score manager, and this ended up being more than just storing the score. It ended up actually adding some player prefs, which we're going to be talking about at the end of the video. So the score manager held the score and the high score data for both of these game objects, and it also stored how many points you get per second. So if I wanted to make it so you get 5 points a second, I could do that, but the average is 1. And it also stores a boolean in which whether the score should be increasing or not. So for example, if the players just died, the score shouldn't be increasing, it should only be increasing after the go. One of the issues that I had with that though was that when the player's score was increasing, it was doing a really long and messy number, and the reason that was happening is because we hadn't rounded up the number just yet. So the syntax that I used to fix this was mathf.round, and I didn't actually know this. I had to look up a video on how to do this, but as you can see, the syntax is super simple and you can put it right before your high score count, in which I did, and it rounds it up to a whole number. So now that we had all the very basic functions working, another basic function I wanted to add to the game, which is obviously very important, is a little death trigger. Death does make it sound very much worse than it is, but it's literally just a cube falling off the platform and basically falling below it, in which there's an invisible box collider which is set to be a trigger. And the script for this is a little it's a little bit more complicated than just purely restarting the scene. Obviously the first thing that it does do is restart the scene, but before it can do that, it actually stops the score from increasing, otherwise it would just increase continuously, and obviously that's not what we want. So like I previously mentioned, what we use is a function called a coroutine, and a coroutine is used to perform a number of instructions, and you can just call this function from anywhere instead of type in the number of instructions that you want anywhere in your script. As you can see on screen, the syntax for this alongside a coroutine is an IE numerator. We called it I called it a restart game, and in this restart game function, the score increase is set to false. It then waits 1 second. The load scene is set to, so basically what this syntax does, scene manager.load scene, it basically loads the scene that we want to load. The amount of times I just said load scene is a lot. After it does that, it sets the score count back to 0, and it also sets the score increasing back to true. The next problem that I had, which we talked about previously also, was the issue that high score wasn't staying when the game restarted. And like I said at the start of the video, this is something that's always daunted me working with player prefs, but player prefs is the only way I could tackle this, so I thought I would tackle it head on and try and figure out a way to do it. So I was looking at loads of YouTube videos and stuff, and I did manage to find a way to work it out, and it did end up in the end working very well. So you can see on screen that we used it in the start function. We said if player preferences.getFloat is high score, and if that is set to null, then add a high score count, and that high score count can be what the current high score is. It's kind of confusing to explain. I'm probably the worst person to explain because it's not exactly my strong point, but here we are. I'm sure there's enough videos I can get you through it. And then you can see down below in our if statement, just below setting our high score count to our current score count, we set the player preference, player prefs even, so our high score is set to that. And finally, at the end of the day, we managed to have a fully functioning game, as you can see on screen right now, in which the player does move and he can balance the object on top, and if the object falls, the score restarts, but the high score doesn't restart. So yeah, I'm really happy I managed to do this all in the space of a few hours. I'm going to be working on this for a few more days, see if we can get this done in about a week or so, and I'm going to make another video on this in the next few weeks. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. Our channel has been doing super well at the moment, and if we can hit like 150 subs by then in the next 2 weeks, I'll be absolutely chuffed with that. So if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a subscribe. I really appreciate literally every single sub, and also it is free. It does not cost you any money at all to sub, and if you don't like it, you can go ahead and unsub straight away if that makes you feel better. On that note, guys, I'll thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.